Good afternoon. I'm definitely from the other planet that Carsten Ostermann has been referring to. And I can definitely say if I only had a cost base of 10 million and at the same time would have that type of revenue prospect, I would be the hero of my company. So let me shed some light on how I see the figures. And I would actually like to start with a simple question. Who of you had a coffee to go today? And I'm not going to ask about reusable or paper cup thing next, so no bad conscience. Who had one? Okay. And you know what? That's actually the price a professional user has to pay to use the Volksetra data. That's the price per day, a Starbucks coffee. So if we're talking about price increase, we need to keep in mind of what levels we're talking about. And let me share a few more examples with you. If I'm a retail investor, I either pay nothing, or again, another equivalent is one transaction at the ATM machine. That's $4.90 per month that you pay as a retail investor for streaming data of the equities market. And if I now look at the complete other end of the spectrum, if I look at other venues who can access our data on non-discriminatory basis, they can fully disintermediate us who run the price discovery process around $5K per month. They can build a complete business case and a complete business on just, referencing to the price discovery that we do at low cost. So this is my perspective from the other planet. But let's get back to some more facts here. And I think as we have seen already, this is a debate where we have the two poles, right? And I would actually like to take a step back. If I look at what we have been trying to achieve with all the regulation and what we're also trying to achieve with the implementation of MiFID II was ultimately going back transparent markets, more stable markets, and ultimately during the last 5 years, the basis for a thriving capital market union. That is the target that we're looking at. And exchanges are a prerequisite for that. We are at the core of capital markets union. And that is due to two things. First of all, we provide primary functions, and these are providing access to capital markets for companies of largely different sizes and types. Right? We don't differentiate if you're a blue chip or not. We do listing. And secondly, we ensure integrity, efficiency, and resilience of the trading process, and we invest heavily in that. So again, the 10 million, I don't buy into that one. But if I look at the effects of MiFID II, MiFIR, what has happened? And we have seen the word monopoly on some of that charts there. If we look at the effect, we have 170 plus, 170, think about it, equity venues in Europe these days since the introduction of MiFID II, MiFIR. And that tells you basically that we are in a hyper-competitive environment, right? And how did that happen? And how can so many build a business on it? It's pretty simple, because they do have non-discriminatory access at low prices, and they can build it on low-cost infrastructure in contrast to us as we run the whole trading block. And if I look at who is in Europe now the top #1 venue in terms of equity volume, and not just looking at German equities here, it is actually a third country trade venue, which started as a low-cost startup. And I'm sure a lot of you will know whom I'm referring to right now. So if I look at the claim that we have in here, that there is overpricing, we have market failure, then I would definitely say, honestly, I can't see that. So the second point that we had seen on charts was the discussion around pricing of data and merely accepting that it is a joint product. And I'm absolutely with you. There are always two sides to a story, and there are definitely different studies out there. But it's pretty clear. There is no price discovery without trade execution. So you can't split those two aside. And if I compare what we invest in the price discovery process, then we're implementing, and that means hard coding, trading rules, basically, right? We're developing and implementing market models and matching algorithms. And that takes a lot of people to develop the relevant market models, because we think, because it is at the core of our business, always, how can we create more liquid markets? That's the core task that we're having. And of course, we do incentivization of liquidity. And of course, there's anything around transparent operations and market surveillance. I mean, all of that comes at a cost. And that is higher than 10 million. So, but what you can see from the debate, I think we're facing one challenge. And the one challenge exchanges face today is that we do have the problem to transport how crucial our role is going forward and how important it is that we take care of the price discovery process. So it's definitely a translation thing, I would say. So let me go back to when we have seen some figures on the US market and how big the data market overall is. So the argumentation has been that the cost of market data has increased. And I agree, if I look at our own price schedules, there are a few where you have seen increases, there are a few where decreases as well. I think this is what ESMA's report has shown. But there's also the innovation capability that you have seen, that definitely new types of data feeds that are requested by users were developed. At the same time, we have all those users out there that now claim, well, our price list gets too complex. And we have seen there was a regulatory requirement for disaggregation, but then no one wants the disaggregated data. So we have an onerous price list that is criticized now. So let me close by saying that if I look at the recent discussion, we shouldn't forget what the role of price discovery is. And you had one wording on one of the charts, and that was investor protection. And if I look at current markets, and if I look at the transparency goal of MiFID II MiFIR, it is everybody likes transparency. Everyone wants to see the market, but few like to contribute. And we are the ones that ensure the price discovery and contribute to it. Thank you.